So welcome to this lesson on Introduction to Search Engine Optimization. Search Engine Optimization, or SEO, helps your website gain visibility in search engines like Google, Yahoo and Bing for key phrases your prospects are searching for. SEO has a broad reach and your rankings can be impacted by a range of factors both on and off your website. So let's have a look at the search engine results page in Google. So I've typed in here laptops and we can see the pay-per-click section here is in blue. So these are paid for ads that all these companies have set up an account with Google and are paying to be listed there, and will pay per click, PPC, for click-throughs to their website. The organic or natural listings are in orange. This is where Google's algorithm has determined who should be at the top of the ranking results. So these lessons are all about search engine optimization and getting listed in this orange section, which we call the organic or the natural listings. So some quick fire stats about the results that we can get in search engine optimization. So 90% of searches start online in a search engine, with 70% of clicks going on the organic section. That's our section in orange here. 90% of Google's customers do not go past the first page, so it's imperative to be on that first page of Google. And in general, conversions from natural listings are generally higher than those click-throughs from pay-per-click. So this is a diagram of a click-through curve, CTR. So this measures the amount of clicks that you get depending on your position. So you can see that getting on page 1 of Google for your keywords, although it's a fantastic success, you shouldn't get complacent, because your position on page 1 of the search engine ranking page will dramatically affect the amount of people that are clicking through to your website. So this study by Slingshot SEO has revealed that 18.2% will click through on position number 1. Compare that to position number 2 that's only getting 10%, and then position 3 that's getting 7.22. So you can instantly see that you nearly get double the traffic over being position 1 to position 2. So essentially, if you're getting on page 1 and you're position 5 or 6 or 7, you can see that you're only in the 3% click-through rate. What are the other loss percentages made up of? Because obviously these numbers here do not add up to 100%. So we're looking at the full picture of the page and the click-throughs. So the other loss percentages are made up of people that clicked on paid adverts, people that didn't click at all and then searched for something else, and people that went on to page 2. So there's some of the lost clicks from the page. It's also worth noting at this stage that seasonality can affect your click-through rate of certain keyword pools. So for example, near Christmas time in December, the click-through rates increase for people looking for gifts, whereas maybe some summer products would take a fall in the click-through rate. So what are the benefits of search engine optimization, or SEO? Well, SEO improves your visibility in search engines. And SEO will increase the number of visitors to your website, and that's because of the increased visibility. SEO makes your site better for visitors, because all Google's trying to do, really, in a term once coined by one of their owners, is clear up the cesspit of the internet. So Google's trying to clean it up and make better web experiences for everyone by ranking those sites that fall within their guidelines of what is a good quality website. The majority of web traffic is driven from search engines. So if you're not visible, you are missing an opportunity. And Google owns around 80% of the search engine market. So it's where I personally focus my efforts on ranking results. And SEO is 100% achievable by yourself. There's no black magic, no dark art if you like. It's consistency and quality that wins the race here. So that is a benefit of SEO because it means you don't have to outsource to expensive agencies if you don't want to. You can do it yourself. What are some of the negatives of SEO? Well, there are a lot of SEO sharks out there that promise the world and will deliver nothing. So I always invite my clients to try it themselves first. Think about the ways that you could yourself deliver an SEO campaign. Over the next few lessons, we'll go through this in a step-by-step process so that you can have a go yourself, try to get some rankings. And if not, at least you'll be armed with the knowledge to go to an agency to then deliver the campaign. So the results do take time. You're looking at 3 months plus, especially if you're a new brand, a new business, and you've got a new domain. You're probably looking at a 6-month burn in that case. SEO does require continuous effort. It's not a one-time hit. It requires a continual strategy to include SEO tactics in your day-to-day role as a webmaster. SEO requires a ton of quality content. I'm going to make that point again. SEO requires a ton of quality content. There's no getting around it, no hiding from it. You need to show you're working here. You need to create quality content that Google will pick up, index, and start to rank, and that is of authority, is thought leading, and people will share, like, and introduce links to the page. SEO is continuously evolving as well. So ranking factors change all the time. You've probably heard of the Google Penguin update and Google Panda update. These, along with a load of other algorithm changes, are the way Google makes changes to its ranking algorithm, which means you need to change your SEO tactics to fit in with the new algorithm updates. What's involved in search engine optimization? Well, there's 3 major groups here, and we're going to dive into each one separately. So, on-page optimization, off-page optimization, and violations, so things to be careful of. So let's now dive into each one of them. So on-page search engine optimization is all about your own website and ranking factors which you have complete control over. So this looks at things like content structure, architecture of the site, layout, speed, usability, and a ton of other factors which we'll cover off in later lessons. So the main thing is indexable content. I made that point earlier about creating great quality content. Well, that needs to be indexable. If Google can't index it, you can't receive ranking points for it. You need a crawlable link structure in order for that content to be indexable. So ensuring that links go to and from the correct pieces of content show Google how you've structured the site and what pages it should give the most authority to. Titles, heading, metadata, and rich snippets. These are all things that you've got control over in your website coding, and you need to ensure that they are relevant to the content. URL structure. So this is your www.mydomain.com/example URL. You need to ensure that these are SEO friendly. So for example, having domain.com/index.php $ID=123 doesn't mean anything to anyone apart from the website's coding to pull back that page. Whereas, for example, www.mydomain.com/cakebaking, that instantly tells us that that page is going to be hopefully something about cake baking. So it means that you can put context to the URL and human visitors can easily type that in. Plus Google will give you extra credit for having those friendly URLs because it gives context to your indexable content. Site speed is another ranking factor that you can have direct effect over. So look at the performance of your server, look at the way the website's actually coded, and get your developers to run a Google page speed test and ensure it's ticking all the boxes that Google suggests, such as leveraging browser cache, ensuring that you use minified JavaScript, ensuring that your images are well optimized. Google will tell you in its page speed checker what things you need to look at and what you need to fix. And the usability and design is also a ranking factor which you have direct control over. So we talked about some ad violations, for example, or a design that is not mobile responsive. Things like this Google are looking at now and will penalize you for not having a responsive site. And there are many, many more ranking factors that you have control over. As I mentioned before, we will go over these in a subsequent lesson, but just to give you a flavor for what ranking factors you can directly affect on your own website. Off-page search engine optimization. Off-the-page SEO describes the ranking factors which you have less or no control over, but you certainly can influence them. These broadly include links, trust signals, social signals, location if we're talking about local search, and your history, for example, the domain age, website history, etc. So let's have a look at the quality links and trust and authority off-page optimization. Search engines heavily use off-page ranking factors to determine ranking results because they get a clearer picture of your website from external signals. For example, in the real world, you could put a sign outside your restaurant saying best food in town, but can you actually prove that from that sign? Because that's a sign that you can create yourself, if you like, an on-page ranking factor. Well, if you have a listing on a food review website and the majority of people agree that you do indeed have the best dinner in town, they do that by leaving a review and a rating, then that's what's called social proof that you do. And that's exactly what search engines are listening to, those off-page factors that you have no control over. You can also think of the quality link section as having a link from that food review website for your restaurant, where the food review site links to your restaurant website. Google will then see that as a quality link, and it will give you ranking points, or what we call link juice in the industry. We'll cover these types of quality links that you can build in a later lesson in more detail. And finally, one of the factors that you have little or no control over is personalization. So for example, if you're signed in to Google and you've clicked on a website in a previous search and you've spent a lot of time on that website, interacted with that website, then Google might give that website a little bit of preference to you only in the ranking results. So when you're checking, for example, your own rankings and you're typing in your keyword, if you've clicked on your own website a lot of times, you might falsely think that you're getting a higher ranking because Google's introducing a personalization search. So what you need to do when you're checking your rankings is run, for example, in Chrome incognito mode, so that you're not signed in to Google and it can't personalize the search engine ranking results. So it's important to be aware of SEO violations. These are things specifically that Google are looking at that will penalize your website and reduce your ranking results. Keyword stuffing. This is using the same keyword hundreds of times on the page. It was an old school tactic and now it simply doesn't work. So don't keyword stuff on the page. Use your keyword in natural writing. Don't use web design, web design, web design, web design, web design. It's just not going to work. That is keyword stuffing. Thin content. So after the Panda update in Google, thin content pages got hit really hard. And Google can now tell not only if the page is relevant, but also if it's of value to the user as well. Ad heavy websites. So you've all been to sites that have banner ads everywhere, text ads, flashing banners. It's really annoying. And Google's page layout algorithm penalizes these sorts of sites. So it's important to cut back on the ads and only use them in very small amounts. Duplicate content. So you might have duplicate content without even knowing. Without the right SEO friendly URLs and canonical metadata, Google could be picking up your homepage or subpages in multiple different ways, i.e. head to your website and go www.mydomain.com/index. Does that still show the homepage? Go to non-www, i.e. just your domain.com. Does that still show the homepage? Well, if it does, you've instantly there got 3 homepages. The one with index, the one without the wwws, and the one with wwws. So you need to set up what's called redirects so that it all goes to your preferred canonical URL, i.e. www.yourdomain.com. There's also a violation of hidden text. It's an old school practice where we used to hide text, for example, using the same text color as the background color or display none. Google doesn't like it. Don't do it. Very simple. Link spam. This is where you have thousands of low quality links pointing at your domain. If you use this tactic in years gone by, you can now use the Google disavow tool to remove them. It's also a way that you can be targeted by sneaky SEO agencies or your competitors in what's called a negative SEO attack. This is where they point thousands of low quality links to your domain in order to try and flag up an SEO violation. Again, you would need to use the Google disavow tool to say, these are not my links. Please don't use them in the ranking of my website. And paid links. So there's a Google rule that you should not buy or sell links in a way that passes on search engine ranking credit or link juice. They even banned their own Google Japan from its index after the team was found to be buying links. So they really do penalise sites for this. They in fact banned Google Japan for nearly 11 months from its own index. So paid link programs do get shut down quickly. Ensure that you're not part of them, and any paid links, make sure you're very clear and honest that this is a paid link coming back to your website. Or you can use the disavow tool that I mentioned in the link spam rule to just tell Google not to count them in your search engine ranking. So that about wraps things up for Introduction to Search Engine Optimization. Time to get up to speed with SEO terminology by reading the SEO terminology fact sheet in the next lesson. This will help you get to grips with all the wording, maybe print off a copy for reference, as I will be using it throughout the next set of lessons. And indeed, I'll see you in those next lessons.